10 things white people say to black people that are racist, even if they don't realize it. You're so articulate. Why is it racist? It assumes that black people are generally expected to be less intelligent or incapable of speaking well.
Coming in hot, we have when a white person is telling a story and they mention the race of the person for no reason. That waitress, and then mention how she was Hispanic as if that somehow has something to do with her character.
Number 5 is, I'm not racist, I have black friends. Well, good for you. What do you want, a medal for it?
I literally just had this experience where a white person said something to me that was very subtly racist, so much so that I didn't even realize until the next day. So recently I was on a 4-hour red-eye flight and I was seated next to this older white gentleman, and I kid you not, we talked for like 3.5 hours.
Guys, sometimes the most dangerous form of racism isn't loud, violent, or obvious. It's quiet, polite, and hidden behind words that seem harmless. Well, today we are reacting to a compilation that exposes the subtle language and behaviors often used by white people that still carry racial bias, even when they are not meant to. Phrases like, "you are so well-spoken," or "I don't see color," may sound innocent, but beneath the surface, they reflect assumptions shaped by centuries of imbalance and privilege. These are the kinds of comments that reveal how deeply prejudice can be embedded into everyday conversations. So guys, in this reaction, we are going to unpack what makes these statements harmful, how they reflect deeper cultural conditioning, and why recognizing them is an important step toward genuine equality.
I literally just had this experience where a white person said something to me that was very subtly racist, so much so that I didn't even realize until the next day. So recently I was on a 4-hour red-eye flight and I was seated next to this older white gentleman, and I kid you not, we talked for like 3.5 hours because 95% of the conversation, it was great. We were vibing. But the conversation started because he noticed I was wearing a law school hat, and he was like, "Oh, did you go to that university for law school?" And I was like, "No, I went for undergrad, like my sister and my dad went for law school." And after I said that, he was just like, "Huh." So later on in the conversation, we're talking about education again. He's asked me about my family's background educationally, and he's telling me about his family, and somehow the topic came to student debt. I said something along the lines of, the university that I went to wasn't my number one choice, but it made the most sense financially so that I wouldn't leave with debt. I was just saying it's crazy how expensive college is, so much to the point that even if you get into a school that you really want to go to, you probably can't go if you can't afford it. And he responds along the lines of, "Yeah, well, there's academic scholarships for people who work really hard and are really smart. Like my kids, they worked really hard and were really smart. And if you worked really hard and were really smart, you wouldn't have an issue with money." And I don't know how I didn't pick up on it in the moment. I think it was because I was tired and it was a red eye, but he basically just kept on saying, if you were actually smart and deserved to be there and weren't just there because of affirmative action, maybe you'd have a chance at getting a scholarship. What he doesn't know is that my family has a knife next to my name because I cut to the core. I don't even mean to sometimes. And I sure did know how to burst this white man's bubble. So I said, "That's awesome for your kids, but the types of schools that I aspired to go to don't give out merit-based scholarships because everybody who gets in is just really smart." I felt really bad for saying that, so I had been replaying the conversation in my head the next day, and that's when it hit me that this man was trying to imply that my family was not actually very smart.
10 things white people say to black people that are racist, even if they don't realize it. You're so articulate. Why is it racist? It assumes that black people are generally expected to be less intelligent or incapable of speaking well. Complimenting basic communication feels patronizing and reveals a biased, low expectation. I don't see color. Why is it racist? It erases the lived experiences of black people, including the discrimination they faced. Ignoring race doesn't solve racism. It ignores its impact. Can I touch your hair? Your hair is so exotic. Why is it racist? Black hair isn't an exhibit for public curiosity. This fetishization reduces a black person to an object of fascination, ignoring their humanity. Where are you really from? Why is it racist? It implies that black people can't truly be American, or British, etc., and perpetuates the idea that they don't belong. You're pretty for a black person. Why is it racist? It generalizes all black people into a monolithic group based on harmful stereotypes. Black people are individuals, not a hive mind. I have black friends, so I can't be racist. Why is it racist? Having black friends doesn't absolve someone of racism, nor does it mean they understand or even respect black experiences. It often comes off as a deflection rather than addressing someone's problematic behavior. You're not like other black people. Why is it racist? This is a backhanded insult to the broader black community, reinforcing negative stereotypes while positioning the individual as an exception. Slavery was a long time ago. Why don't you just get over it? Why is it racist? It dismisses generational trauma and systemic inequalities rooted in slavery and ongoing racism, showing ignorance of history and its ongoing effects. All lives matter. Why is it racist? It dismisses specific struggles black people face by undermining the purpose of Black Lives Matter to address racial inequality and police brutality. Saying all lives matter ignores these disparities. Comments like these often come from ignorance, not malice, but it doesn't make them less harmful. These statements invalidate, stereotype, and patronize black people and perpetuate the very biases many of them claim they do not have. It's important to listen, learn, and engage with humility to avoid unintentionally reinforcing racism.
Top 5 stupidest shit white people say. Number 5 is, I'm not racist, I have black friends. Well, good for you. What do you want, a medal for it? I mean, come on. And also, some people keep their friends close and their enemies closer. You know what I mean? Number 4 is, this is reverse racism. There's no such thing as reverse racism. If you discriminate against somebody for their race, it's racism. It's that simple. Number 3 is, I'm just going to sneak right past you here. When they're trying to say excuse me or they want to get somewhere and they're worried they're going to disrupt somebody, I'm just going to sneak right past you. Fucking say excuse me and do what you need to do, okay? Don't pretend like you're some little transparent thing, you pale ghost. Number 2, I'm giving to, can I touch your hair? To a black friend, can I touch your hair? You don't need to be touching their hair. I'm sorry if it's new to you that they have different hair than you, but don't be touching it. If you like this list and want more about other nonsense, follow me. Leave me a comment with the stupidest shit white people say. Also follow my fiance Samantha, who I've tagged. And number 1 is when they have to compare their black friends to a celebrity. Oh, you my gosh, you remind me so much of Will Smith. Fuck off!
Hi, my name's Kylie, and here are some things that white people say without realizing they're being racist. Moved a lot growing up. Sometimes I was in rural, homogenous white areas, and other times it was diverse urban areas. But regardless, here are some things that I've heard. Number 1, coming in hot, we have when a white person is telling a story and they mention the race of the person for no reason. That waitress, and then mention how she was Hispanic as if that somehow has something to do with her character. Number 2, telling a story about someone from a different race and then doing an accent to make the story come to life. Number 3, saying the N-word in rap music or other songs because it's going too fast to skip it. Number 4, thinking that their lack of skill when it comes to sports is because they're white and not because, in fact, they are unathletic. Yes, they have actually said this. I've had a white boy tell me he would have gone to the NBA if he was black. Number 5, assuming that hearing people in public speaking a different language means they are talking badly about you. Specifically, nail techs or waitstaff, because white people think everything is about them.
When you listen carefully, what's striking isn't just what's being said. It's why it's being said. A lot of these common phrases reveal something deeper. The expectation that whiteness is the norm and everyone else is somehow different. It's not always about hostility. Most of it comes from social conditioning. For example, complimenting someone's speech or appearance can sound positive or on the surface, but it often carries an unspoken comparison, as if being intelligent, beautiful, or successful is somehow unusual for Black people. And when people say things like, I don't see color, or all lives matter, what they are really doing, even unintentionally, is shifting the focus away from real inequality and back toward comfort. This kind of language keeps racism alive by disguising it as normal conversations. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness, because awareness is what opens the door for growth. Here's the truth, guys. Racism isn't always about banning burning crosses or hate groups. Sometimes it's the tone of compliment, the curiosity of a question, or the silence in a conversation. It's the quiet bias that hides inside politeness. The kind of people defend with didn't mean it that way. And that is exactly why it's so hard to address. Many white people grow up, never having to think about race. They are taught to see themselves as neutral, while everyone else gets labeled as different. So when they say something like, "Where are you really from?" or "You are not like the others," it often comes from a place of curiosity, but the impact tells a different story. It tells the person being spoken to that they don't truly belong. That is how casual racism operates, quietly, invisibly, and without accountability. Now, what makes this even more complicated is fear. There's a fear that confronting racism means giving something up. Comfort, control, or a sense of innocence. And that is why we hear terms like reverse racism. It's a defensive shield, a way to avoid discomfort by pretending that equality somehow threatens white people's standing. But equality isn't about taking anything away. It's about leveling the ground that was never equal to begin with. It's the same fear that fuels phrases like "slavery was a long time ago" or "why can't you just move on?" Statements like this dismiss generational pain as if it ended when the chains were broken. But trauma doesn't end with policy changes. It continues through the wealth gap, through the biased policing, through the representation that still treats blackness as secondary. When people say, "I don't see color," it might sound noble, but it's actually erasing reality. If you don't see color, you don't see how systems that treat people differently because of color. Real equality isn't colorblind. It's color aware. It's acknowledging difference and still offering respect. And let's be honest, guys, even the most, well-meaning white people can fall into these patterns because society rewards them for not noticing. They are never had to learn that language can wound, even when it's wrapped in politeness. But the moment you start to notice, you gain responsibility, because every phrase from "you are so articulate" to "can I touch your hair" carries a history of exclusion, of fascination with blackness, of treating people as exceptions instead of equals. So the question becomes, what are we willing to unlearn? If we want real progress, we have to go deeper than "I'm not racist." Being not racist isn't enough. It's passive. Being anti-racist means choosing to challenge your habits, your words, your silence, even your defensiveness. It means asking yourself, why do I say that? Who does it hurt? What am I really trying to prove? And here's the hopeful part. People can change. Racism isn't a permanent identity. It's a set of behaviors that can be unlearned, one conversation at a time. We all have blind spots. No one's immune. But if you can recognize yours, you've already taken the first step toward, dismantling them. Because equality isn't just about fairness. It's about humanity, and humanity starts with humility. The humility to listen, to learn, and to speak differently. So as you watch this video, guys, don't just react to what's said. Reflect on why it exists. Ask yourself, do I use these phrases? Do I excuse them when others do? Because change doesn't start in the streets. It starts in the mirror. Let's keep challenging these small, normal moments that actually shape the world we live in. Because if we can change how we talk, maybe we can change how we think, and eventually how we treat each other. Now, guys, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Let me know, what are your thoughts? Also, remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.